everyone. I sincerely welcome you all to the second Global Summit webinar that we've held in Australia. It's really good to see you online, and if you are watching this recording, I do hope you enjoy some of the learnings that Ed, Darren, Matteo, and myself go through, and I'm hoping we get a bit of a chance to have a talk with Brownie as well, because Brownie's got a great story around cryptocurrency, but we'll see how we go from there. But it's an exciting place to play in the world of cryptocurrency. 12 years ago, it didn't exist. For me, 5 years ago, a bit over 5 years ago, it didn't exist. And for a lot of us here, we've all started off at the same point going, what the hell is this thing called cryptocurrency? So what I might do is do a quick screen share PowerPoint and run through a few things while I do a thousand other things at the same time. So welcome again to the webinar. I might just just 2 seconds, I'll just stop. I'll just move a few things around here, otherwise it's not going to work for me. Sorry about that, guys. So again, welcome to the webinar. It's a fantastic time in cryptocurrency, and you are here learning and trying to work out, have you missed out the boat? That's the biggest question I find most people are asking me right now. Did I miss the Bitcoin? Where is the safest place to put cryptocurrency? That's a really important question, and becoming more and more important as there's more people involved with cryptocurrency. And ultimately, what are the best coins to purchase? I think that's the most important thing to talk about. And we'll talk about some really nice, safe entry points into cryptocurrency. So my name's Andrew Squilari. I'm a digital asset strategist. I'll just go through a little disclaimer. This is just for educational advice. There's no investment, financial, trading advice in anything during this presentation. This is our stories, what we've done in cryptocurrency over the last 2, 3, 5, or even longer years. And we hope that you do some due diligence. I would strongly advise you to go talk to your financial advisor and your accountant about structuring your cryptocurrency wealth. The information we provide tonight will have a dramatic effect on your tax obligations, so making sure you see a financial advisor about structuring. If they don't have cryptocurrency or know nothing about cryptocurrency, then of course, I wouldn't ask their opinion about cryptocurrency because they won't know what you're asking them from the reference point that you're looking, but make sure that you do some really strong due diligence. The agenda tonight is I'm going to go through the introduction to cryptocurrency, what's happening in the market right now, why timing is absolutely critical to get involved with cryptocurrency. We've got one of our guest speakers is Matteo Salerno. He shouldn't be too far away from joining. He's a very, very busy professional in the cryptocurrency world. He's got connections with many, many exchanges all over the world, so it's great to listen to Matteo. We've got Darren Dacxi. He's a blockchain expert. He's a good mate of mine on the Gold Coast. He's involved heavily with blockchain technology and helping companies transition over to blockchain, which is very exciting, which is why we all are looking forward to what's happening in the blockchain space over the next year to future forever. And of course, the last speaker tonight is going to be Ed Ludbrook. He's a futurist and the CEO of the Dacxi exchange. And I'll wrap it up right at the end, which will be really good to do that. A little bit about me. I'm a cryptocurrency asset strategist. I've been involved with crypto for over 5 years now. I, like you, probably have never heard of the word cryptocurrency or blockchain. In July 2015, I didn't know any idea about cryptocurrency. So I got introduced to the idea like a friend, what probably you were, and I did some really heavy research for quite a few months and realized that the cryptocurrency space solved many, many problems that we are currently experiencing. I knew that these problems would become a reality in my world, and they are certainly a reality for everyone now. And thankfully, there's a lot of legislation in cryptocurrency, and we've got platforms and really good platforms out there now that allow us to get involved with crypto safely, easily, and we can generate some very, very good wealth. And like I said, Matteo shouldn't be too far away. He's the co-founder. He's a solicitor on the Gold Coast. He owns co-founder of Trigon Trading. He's an over-the-counter trader, so he provides cryptocurrency funding solutions for large investors and other exchanges. So it'll be interesting to see what he's got to say about the cryptocurrency markets and where they're going. Of course, my mate Darren, I'm not going down a bit on the Gold Coast, been around crypto for quite a number of years. He offers digital software solutions and blockchain technology for professionals, for businesses. And I know he's got some great projects happening in cryptocurrency right now. I think one of his projects is doing the data. He'll talk about it later, but maybe converting all the data in a hospital over in Israel. So that's an exciting project to be able to blockchain all that type of stuff. Of course, the infamous Ed Ludbrook, he's a crypto futurist. The numbers, the decisions that he's made over the last 3.5 years have been absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoy sitting back and seeing the decisions that he made 3.5 years ago now become very, very opportunistic for the cryptocurrency community within Dacxi, and generally he is an industry leader in cryptocurrency. So I'm very, very excited about what Ed's got to talk about. And like he said earlier before the webinar really started, is what are we going to be doing and what's happening in the market right now. And I think he's got some good insights around that. So just to quickly explain the crypto market development. Now, I've been around crypto, like I said, for 5.5 years. So we did see this big wave. One, the awakening event of cryptocurrency, the media, the Chinese government, the Japanese government, and of course the Korean government and the Americans. Everyone found out about cryptocurrency in a very big way that year when Bitcoin hit 26,000 Australian dollars, and then it plummeted down to the bottom here of $3,400. So it was a big event. A lot of people woke up to it, and a lot of people went to sleep. But the people that didn't go to sleep were large organizations that have been heavily involved with cryptocurrency for the last few years. They've developed platforms, technology, and allowed the large institutional investors to get involved with cryptocurrency. Now we're seeing a wave of payment providers like Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, all heavily getting involved with cryptocurrency as well. And the introduction of banking. So there's a lot of banks getting involved with cryptocurrency now. So this big second wave is really moving forward right now. We're seeing the huge growth of coin prices. We're still seeing some volatility because compared to the traditional monetary system, $2 trillion is not a lot of money, but as time goes on, that volatility will get smaller as a percentage, and the market won't move as much. It won't be so scary for new people to get involved, but there's a lot of institution support in there now, and a lot of institutions are getting heavily involved with cryptocurrency, and that's going to provide a lot of support for the next few years. So it's a very exciting world in the world of cryptocurrency. And the big change is at the moment, primarily what we're using cryptocurrencies for is actually currencies. Most people are looking at the currency aspect of it. Let's say make some money out of currency. The shift from fiat currencies, the US dollar, Australian dollar, euros, pounds, yen, yuan, all moving over to digital. So we're talking about currencies really. And Darren's one of the leaders in this asset tokenization of assets. So shares, property, cars, everything is going to be represented by ownership of a token. So this marketplace is astronomical. So we're going to do really well in this area of playing with currencies where we are now, but that is going to plateau out because all currencies do plateau out. But there's another big area of growth that no one's really looking after. No one's caring about the community. No one's actually providing the digital future for that now. And I know the Dacxi platform is firmly entrenched in enabling tokenized assets to become real in our world and allow us to get into assets that are being tokenized. It's going to be a very, very exciting time seeing the evolution of cryptocurrency. But before I keep on going, I might just end the slideshow. We've got Matteo on here, so just going to try and find him in the 100 people that are here. Hope you've got your camera on, Matteo. So if you can say hello, Matteo, probably come up with it is easier. You hear this here somewhere.
How you doing there, Andrew? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't find you. My God, this is good fun. I like finding people in a haystack. There we go. So I've just made you a co-host as well. So if you've got anything you want to share with us, that'd be fantastic. But look, everyone, this is Matteo. He's a good mate of mine. He's got a great family. He's got a great company on the Gold Coast, and he's got some really good insights and wisdom into cryptocurrency. So welcome to the webinar, Matteo. It's fantastic to see you here. I know you're an extremely busy guy with an international business, so we really appreciate your time. So I'll just ask you a couple of questions about
Sure.
what you believe is going on in the cryptocurrency markets right now, and where you see the movements in crypto over the next short period of time.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate the intro, and hope you can hear me all right. Just sing out if it's a bit dull here.
Perfect.
So we Trigon Trading started as about 7 years ago from the traditional trading space. So we primarily a trade desk dealing with other other exchanges, funds, and then some large sort of traders. With our what we're seeing sort of this. I'm not sure kind of what your audience is, so I'll kind of give you a bit of an idea about how we operate. But what we're seeing now, this sort of the last sort of 6-12 months has been a little bit different to 2017 in terms of the way or the type of entrance into the market. Now you're probably seeing, I'm sure everyone's probably seen the news of, Tesla putting, 1.5 billion into Bitcoin on their balance sheet. That's sort of something that the general public will hear, but for the last sort of year or two, there's been a lot more interest from the traditional market players that trade in the space. So it's getting a little bit more of a now where Bitcoin is $1 trillion asset class. It's certainly becoming a little bit more mainstream in order to allow these larger sort of institutions to I'll use the term dabble, as one of the BlackRock CIO said. They're now dabbling in the crypto market. So it's becoming a lot easier with the custodians and just some of the banks. For us as a trading desk and an Australian entity, it's always difficult to get banking. I'm not sure if we've got too many other guys in the banking space here, but Australia is there's one or two sort of more crypto friendly banks that are utilized, but traditionally the main sort of settlement have been in the US for the crypto market. But it is getting a lot easier to for larger institutions. We just heard recently the Bank of New York Mellon, which is the oldest bank in the US, starting to allow or enter into the crypto market by allowing their customers to custody digital assets. And they're using, you may have heard, but they're using a company called Fireblocks, which is quite a good custodian that operates within the digital asset space. So from our perspective, the difference, I think sort of the mainstream have seen the 2017 run up, and some thought this is a bubble. It's Ponzi scheme. It's a bubble. It's going away. But now this sort of the difference between then and now is that it was more sort of retail focused in 2017, and it's probably one of the few times that a lot of this market has been dominated, for the last 7 years, in my opinion, by the retail market as opposed to the larger corporates and institutions. It's only really the last sort of 2 to 3 years, and more so the last 18 months that larger institutions are becoming, part of the community. So that's why you're seeing a lot the type of buying and the move up to 58,000 USD Bitcoin price, and then the recent sort of pullback in the last couple of days. A lot of our clients and a lot of people who are unfamiliar with the space ask, well, what's causing that? What's causing this move? The fact is this market trades 24/7. There's no other market that trades, quite like it. It also allows. It's also to some extent. I mean, it's regulated, but to some extent, it's still very much a free market, and so it's one of the only free markets that we have, which allows the average person, as well as institutions, to trade very high leverage, and so it's very emotional driven, the market. So you'll see really large moves up and large moves down, and this is if you've experienced it for the last 6-7 years, it's quite natural in terms of the way the market moves. So we're certainly seeing a lot more institutions get into the space nowadays. So, and I think that's going to level off the market a little bit more in terms of the flow.
So do you feel that the volatility will probably remain around the same it is now, but the percentage of that volatility will be a lot lower as the coin prices go up, especially in those blue chips?
Yeah, I think the fact is, it's a $1 trillion market at the moment. I'm talking about Bitcoin, which is 60-70% of the crypto market. I do think as the price sort of moves up now, this is not necessarily my opinion, but there's a lot of people a lot smarter than I am think that it's going to replace gold as an asset class, which I certainly can agree with. If that's the case, then it's about 5 to 10 times the price of where it is now, and therefore once it gets to that sort of $10 trillion market cap, there's not as much, I don't think it's going to have as much of a volatile sort of movement. I think it'll level off a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it is a traded coin, so you're always going to have some of that volatility, but as a percentage, because the numbers are so big, we won't see the 15% corrections that we've felt in the last few days.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think when you look at the move, I mean, people see, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, the drop from 58,000 down to 45, 46, and think, now it's sitting at just above 50,000, but literally a week ago it was at 50,000. So it's hard to conceptualize the way the movement is, as well as the fact that there's only it's quite, especially a lot of these exchanges. So a lot of the exchanges allow 100x leverage to trade, right? So whether that's good or not, I'll let the audience decide, but that's certainly a factor in leverage. So a lot of the funding rates, over the last sort of 2 weeks have been to leverage long, to put in a position to go long was upwards of 100% per annum. So it was definitely hard for those people in a position to maintain that. So the leverage is certainly a key factor that causes these swings.
Okay, that's fantastic to hear that answer. It certainly gives us a lot of confidence about the growth of Bitcoin. I had a question asked to me a few weeks ago about, that it's getting harder and harder to buy Bitcoin. Now, the question was, will we ever run out of Bitcoins to buy?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, as you know, it gets the code releases it every, the blocks every 10 minutes. So there's it's released every 10 minutes. So up until, what is it, 2041, then it sort of thins out from there. I don't see that it's going to run out, because it's, I don't think that that's an issue. The fact that it's finite, I think gives it's a unit of account, so it effectively allows us to store value without having federal banks printing extra money. So I don't think that's really too much of an issue that it's ever going to run out.
I just said that the prices will just keep on coming up and going up until you reach the price that you set to sell.
Yeah, that's right. There's always buyers and sellers in the market, luckily.
That's right. Everyone's got a price, and if you want to buy it, you've got to pay it. If you've got to sell it, you've got your price set. Now, look, you're an Aussie. You're a proud Aussie. You grew up in the Western Australia, and Grant Cooper's on the call tonight. He wants to catch up with you later because he knows you as a kid. But you're a proud Aussie like me. What do you see cryptocurrency doing in the Australian market over the next few years?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty lucky where we are. I mean, we've got an office in the Gold Coast and then Sydney, but compared to the rest of the world, I think we've got it pretty easy. I think everyone can agree with that. But we still, I think crypto and Bitcoin and crypto and the DeFi space in general, I just feel that it's going to allow we're continually having problems where central banks are printing money out of thin air, and it affects everyone consistently. And I just feel like Australia, there's plenty of opportunities here in terms of there's mining, there's agriculture, technology for us. I was on a call yesterday, but with some fintech guys, and technology for us in Australia really isn't a key driver or key exporter of our GDP. But I do think per capita, and I don't have the figures on this, but just from what I'm aware, per capita in Australia, the amount of people involved in crypto and digital assets per capita, I believe, is one of the highest in the world. Which I think is excellent for Australia in terms of leading the way into that to that market. Now, I think we're still quite behind in some of the perhaps some of the banking, some of the sort of fintech and connections to build in this space, and I think a lot of the good people in the space tend to head elsewhere when they're US and Asia perhaps. But I feel like the way now the economy is that people can work from anywhere. So I think it's going to be just going to give a lift to Australia in terms of enabling a lot more diverse job ranges, and just give it another avenue to support their GDP. That's kind of what I'm hoping and seeing to some extent now as well.
I mean, that's music to my ears, because as you're well aware, the Dacxi platform is that crowdfunding platform for startups. I'm glad we haven't got too many internationals on the call, because a lot of the retail coins are in the Dacxi platform in Australia. So we're going to be spending those coins getting innovative ideas up and running in Australia, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm very happy that there's people like you in the industry that give a lot of credibility, knowledge and support, and I'm looking forward to deepening our relationship within cryptocurrency. and helping people understand the importance of cryptocurrency as we move forward. So any final thoughts about someone that's looking at cryptocurrency right now, and what do you think is an appropriate action that they need to take straight away?
Sorry, I just missed that last bit of the question. Do you mind just repeating that? I just cut out there, sorry.
If someone's looking at cryptocurrency right now, what do you think they should be doing?
Sure. Look, I've always kept it very simple I've been around for about dealing in the crypto markets about 7 years. I just, we normally sort of stick to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the major ones. Now, it's not necessarily because we're partial there. It's just that they're less risk in terms of if you're going to holding it for the long term. Not saying that there's other digital assets in the DeFi space, etc., that are have value. Certainly, there's certainly going to have a lot of value in that area. But just for the average person, it's hard for them to just figure out which one do I buy, and then it's difficult in that regard. And I certainly don't recommend trading, even though we're a trading company, so we obviously appreciate people trading through us. If you don't know what you're doing, trading is certainly not a good idea. So I just recommend buying and holding for the long term. It's 9 times out of 10 the people who invest that way make the money, as I'm sure everyone's aware. So just stick with that. Try not to get too caught up in the price movements. It's hard sometimes to understand, but just stick with it.
That is fantastic advice, because that mirrors what I've been telling people to get involved with the Dacxi platform. So look, I really appreciate your knowledge, your advice, and your willingness to help our community learn about cryptocurrency. Obviously, what you think we should be doing is what I've been telling people, and Ed's been telling people as well. So thank you very much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy, and I look forward to you joining a webinar.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Andrew. Appreciate that.
Mate, well done. Thank you very much. Perfect advice. I love that advice. That's gold. So hands up, everyone that enjoyed that bit of advice from Matteo. Yeah, I think the community really appreciates that advice, giving people a bit of direction about what they should be thinking and making sure that they're comfortable with their decision. So thank you again. So I've got Darren on as well. Darren's a good mate of mine, even though he's from South Australia. Some of those South Australian guys are a bit dodgy, but Darren is been involved with cryptocurrency for quite a number of years. He saw a lot of things happen back in 2017, some good, some bad, some absolutely phenomenal. And from that point, he's gone into the digital assets area and also digital blockchaining concepts, and doing a lot of digital solutions for companies and CRMs and all that technical stuff I know absolutely nothing about. So welcome, Darren. It's great to see you on the call tonight.
Good evening, Andrew. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So Darren's got a great team of very, very highly educated professionals that he works with, and they work for him as well. So I'm going to hand over the floor to you, Darren, and you can explain a little bit about you, cryptocurrency, blockchain, and what is going on to tokenizing assets.
I might just share my screen and put a little presentation together just to help everyone in the room, so just bear with me.
Yep.
I like to think of myself as the least intelligent person of a really smart team. We've got a really good team of guys, been working the digital space for probably about 13 years. Met my partner about 7 or 8 years ago, and we started building software, and probably the last couple of years we've really started to spend more time in that blockchain space. I think there's lots of opportunities in that space at the moment with the tech, and that's what I want to talk a little bit about tonight. Is more so the tech that's behind the cryptocurrencies, because I think it has a lot of application in the market space. So I just up on the screen there, I just want to talk about the basics of blockchain. I'm not sure if everyone understands how the blockchain works, so I'll just spend a minute or two just to explain that. That might just help someone on the line. want to talk about some of the use cases, because I think there's a lot of use case for the blockchain or distributed ledger technology out there and some of the adoptions for the future. So it's really exciting times for blockchain. And anyone, I'm not sure if anyone on the call knows this guy, Patrick Byrne. He is using blockchain at the moment to solve a lot of problems, including corruption. He's actually taking some of the technology over to Africa at the moment. I would highly recommend you go and research this interview. It's about 48 minutes. It's thoroughly worth happening. Blockchain, really, the revolution of blockchain really is happening right now. The technology out in the market space is changing the way we do business, and it is going to change the way we do business in years to come. Just think, over the last few thousand years, we've really been centralized with everything we do, whether it be government, whether it be institutions, third-party institutions have always interrupted or been in the middle of being able to partake in a transaction of some kind. Well, this technology, the blockchain technology, allows us to decentralize, and it really changes the way we do business moving forward. And I'll explain a little bit about what he's doing in a short while. But let's just go through the basics of a blockchain. So really, if we want to transact, and I've got a couple of little drawings there on how we would do it. So if I want to send some money, a transaction happens, it creates a little block. The block then is then broadcast out to everyone in the network, or the nodes that are there out in the network. The node then looks at that transaction, and then if they all agree, they then attach the block and the transaction is complete. So that's sort of the basics of an everyday blockchain. So I'll do it from a transaction perspective. Say I want to send, say Andrew's on the left and me on, Andrew's on the right, me on the left. Normally we want to send some money to each other. We would have a bank in the middle. Well, the blockchain gives us the ability to Andrew to send me the money without having a third party in the middle. So it really is a useful technology, and cryptocurrency really is just one of the many use cases that the blockchain does offer. So I love it because it allows us to build communities, local communities, build communities out there that are decentralized. It allows, there's lots of peer-to-peer applications out there to be able to support the communities. There's lots of developers, there's opportunities for developers to build this technology. And like I was saying, it's more than one use other than cryptocurrencies. So let's just look at like the blockchain, I call it the blockchain evolution at the moment. I know Ed and the team talk about it from a cryptocurrency perspective. It was probably about 2015-16 when I first looked at the industry and looked at it from a cryptocurrency perspective. But the technology has changed a lot. I remember coming into 2017-18, there was companies out there who were building the tech out, and then a lot of them have left. There is obviously a lot who have now taken their tech also and into where we are at the moment in 2020-21, where it's really evolved. But I really still think we're in the growth phase from a technology perspective. There's lots of companies out there who are starting to build the technology out and utilizing blockchain. It's still a little bit confusing for some people, but the technology is starting to come out into everyday use, and I'll go through some of the use cases in a minute. But I still think we're a few years away from it being at its maturity from the technology perspective, but it really is disruptive and changing where we're going at the moment, blockchain. So let's just talk about some of the use cases. Now, I'll start with just some of the cryptocurrencies. Like I'm just going to talk top 10, top 11, and there's some really good use cases for cryptocurrency companies. I'm going to talk a bit about supply chain, real estate, and document storage, and then I'll just show you some of the other use cases. Obviously, we all know about Ethereum. I look at Ethereum really like the Windows or the Apple platform for cryptocurrencies. It obviously allows us to build technology on top of there, and they also have the ability to have their own cryptocurrencies as well. Currency, I should say. Polkadot, open source, allows data, cross-chain transfer of data and assets. Cardano is another one, top 10 company. We've also got Litecoin. I love Litecoin. I'm a really big fan of Litecoin. Low cost payment and a great technology. I really like it. Chainlink, obviously there's been lots of talk about Chainlink recently and with their price rises, and even Stellar. So top 11 companies. there's 6 really good use cases of their technology right there. But I'm just going to move outside of the cryptocurrencies into the world of something as simple as supply chains. Let's talk about the ability to be able to know where your food came from. Let's talk about your health and the supply of just general things out in the market space. Wouldn't it be great if you could go to Woolworths and know exactly where your food was grown using one of those and using a Q code? And that is where blockchain is becoming very useful. Straight from the farmer all the way through to the producer, the distributor, and the retail. And you have the ability to use a Q code and follow the supply chain of everything that's happened with the goods, service, product that you have bought, all stored on the blockchain. And you know exactly where your food has come from, the time it was grown. Everything is stored there inside the blockchain. And I think we're going to see this more and more moving forward, the use of blockchain and when it comes to our food and supply chains as we move forward. I think that's a big one. I've had a couple of conversations with people about real estate, even as early as this week. I think the real estate is really in for a massive disruption over the next couple of years. And I know Andrew and I've had this conversation. What people don't realize is Patrick Byrne, for example, he is looking to put all of real estate over in some of the African countries straight to the blockchain. So you'll literally be able to take your phone, hit with a Q code, and you'll be able to purchase the property without having a middleman in the middle. That's coming to the Western world, I think, in the next few years, could be 5 to 10 years, but it's coming. So those in the real estate industry, I believe, need to start to have a look at, otherwise they're going to get left behind. I truly believe that this is a big disruptor for the real estate industry. Because let's just have a look at something as simple as buying a house at the moment. Your normal supply chain would be, you would have a buyer, you have all the professionals that sit in the middle, the lawyers, the brokers, the insurance agents, everything else that you need in the middle. And then obviously you have the seller at the other end. Something as simple as using the Ethereum network, and there's other networks inside or other blockchains that you could utilize where everything can be used in smart contract, and Alice could work with Bob and sell the house like that on the blockchain without having a middleman. Now that's a massive disruption to the market for that industry, the real estate industry, just there. And that can all be done with the blockchain. There's already companies at the moment that are using it for rentals. I've seen some of that on the Gold Coast already, where rental companies are getting the agents are getting their tenants to sign their contracts and that through utilizing the blockchain. So it's already here. It's only a matter of time before the actual sales of real estate is done through the blockchain here in Australia and around the world. I think the next couple of years is going to be a massive disruption to that in that market. Now, something as simple as documents as well. There's a number of companies that are supplying that at the moment. Really good for things like the courts and lawyers and things like that, where they need to know exactly what's happened with a document, who's signed it, who's seen it, who's actioned it. Even in the health industry, doctors, medical, insurance, to know exactly what's happened with a document and when someone's seen it, time and date stamped. I think the documents on the blockchain, there's companies out there doing it now already. But I think there's a massive need for that as well. And a few more, there's stacks of use cases that are available. Obviously, cryptocurrency, exchanges like Dacxi, like the crowdfunding platform that Dacxi are putting together. Really excited about the things that Ed has put together in the team. Obviously, Andrew's talked a lot about Singapore and the trading platform, and they're putting everything onto the blockchain. Supply chains we've talked about, payments. There's so many different use cases for the blockchain moving forward. And I think it's really going to disrupt the market. And if companies don't start to look at where they could utilize the blockchain in the market moving forward, I think some companies are going to get left behind. And I really think it's has that ability to cut out, I don't want to use that word, but I call it corruption. There's corruption in the market and third parties that get greedy in the middle. I think it has the ability to make it really fair to be able to trade and transact between buyer A and buyer B for lots of different markets. So I'm really excited about where the blockchain market is going. future adoption, like I say, decentralization, it's immutable. It has high security, easy tracking of information, and no third-party interference. And you only have to look at things like what's happening with social media, voting, lots of different things happening right before our eyes at the moment. And there's companies that are bringing out the ability so that we can't have social media taken down or videos being taken down, so that our information that we want to store and make available is there. And blockchain is helping a variety of industries do that. So just a quick conclusion, I think for me, blockchain is the future of technology moving forward. The use cases are growing. There's billions of dollars that have been put into the market. The investment's high into different blockchain projects. The revolution is here and the tsunami is coming. There's billions invested into the tech. And I just think we're getting started. And I think given that the tech is being increased and improved, I think that then is going to see the cryptocurrency side of things improve as well. And as the companies start to grow out their tech, I only see the future is rosy for both crypto and blockchain for me. So hopefully that helps someone there. Back to you, Andrew.
Wow, I do like that slide that showed all the potentiality of blockchain problem solving. Literally everything we touch, taste, smell, see is going to be blockchain in some way, shape or form. And we are all going to be actively using that. 2 years ago, it was very hard to explain to someone how to use a QR code. But now everyone is acutely aware of exactly what a QR code is, and the information that's stored within that QR code is accessible. And your company and other companies like you are allowing consumers like us to have their products, their technology more accessible and more transparent. And I thank you for your expertise and what your company's doing to allow customers access that information that we are going to demand, because we want to know what's going on with every part of our life. And I think transparency is number one. And so thank you very much, Darren. It's great to have you on, and you did a great presentation. I'm looking forward to watching the recording of that section as well. There's some good information there. So thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All good. Finally, guys, a very, very good friend of mine, Ed Ludbrook. Ed talked to me a couple of years ago about this concept of equity funding companies with blockchain. I went, what the hell's that all about? And he explained it, and I got really excited because it was exactly what Darren is doing now and has been doing for a number of years. But we can actually do that through the Dacxi platform, and in a way that protects not only the company that we're helping to fund, but also protects the community of investors as well. So that is why I got involved with Dacxi, not because I just like Ed, because I love the concept of equity funding. So welcome, Ed. Thank you very much. I know it's very late over in New Zealand, but I appreciate the effort and time you're putting into helping us understand a bit more about Dacxi and what's happening with cryptocurrency. So thanks, Ed.
It's okay. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
All right. Look, thank you very much, guys. And I just want to comment. I think, Matteo and Darren just did fantastic presentations, don't you think? Look, as an organisation, Dacxi actually is registered with Trigon. We checked them out. They're a very reputable organisation. They deal with large organisations like that, like us. But the experience that he has in the market, as you can hear, 7 years, and those comments that he was making about how he's seeing the institutional flows. That's the important thing. When we talk about crypto, as many of you that have known me for a while, okay, will know that we have in Australia since 2018 have been saying that there will come this second wave that you saw, that Squid showed you a second ago. He'll put it up in a second. And look, we saw that and just said, hey, look, we because we believe in this area as an investable asset class, then it is logical that the institutions will come, be involved in this space, and therefore they're going to drive the price, they're going to drive the credibility, they're going to drive the sort of stable returns that the public need to have to treat this area as a wealth building space. We always talk about the three types of people. You've got people that are trading, and if you hear what Matteo said, be very skeptical about being a trader unless you really have those skills. Then there are the basic crypto gamblers, which is the vast majority of the marketplace. They don't really understand, or they don't understand what's happening, so they have a bit of a punt on crypto. And then if you really look at crypto with the right viewpoint, if you really look past the buzz of the prices and the potential of making money, and actually look at the use cases as Darren was talking about, which I thought that was a fantastic presentation. Thanks, Darren. I really, really do. I think it's so important that people can get appreciation of this technology that underpins this asset class, because when you understand that, you'll appreciate that behind these coins are real problems that the technology provides the best solutions. And when you understand the scale of these problems, like literally they're in hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars, and therefore the potential for the solutions, whether they're in a currency form or whether they're in a tokenized asset form, that's where all the potential is. And you need to appreciate that you are seeing this stuff, even though we talk about being involved for a few years, you've got to appreciate that we literally are at the start of this wave. And I thought it was very relevant, and I talk a lot about this recently, what Matteo was talking about. These large institutions require major trusted organizations to look after their assets. So he was talking about Mellon and other organizations that are now coming out and saying that they're putting in place digital asset custodial services. So they already look after the shares, they look after the bonds, they look after the other assets that these major sort of like super funds, insurance funds, and organizations like that. They require obviously very secure custody of the assets that they buy. They don't look after it. And one of the things that's been slowing up the introduction of the institutional money is these organizations. And to have them, like your Deutsche Bank, your Citibank, your JP Morgans, all announce that they'll have their platforms in place this year, should give you enormous confidence that there is major money coming into those top level, what we call blue chip assets. And that's why this industry actually is going into a new era. And therefore I suspect, we believe that's the responsible for the dramatic growth in Dacxi over the last few months. It's crazy. I think as of today, we've done more business in this year than we did all of last year. It's like crazy growth. And I really appreciate the people that are involved in Dacxi who are talking to their friends and family and just saying, hey, look, now is a very smart time to get involved in this asset class. So Squid, can you just bring those slides up for me? Look, I just want to show you the slides so this one first is one that I created a couple of years ago, and the laugh is that I think we got it pretty right as far as the wave. This I think is, the key thing to understand here is, as Squid was talking about, there was this first initial boom. As Matteo was talking about, the spike in 2018, it dropped in spike in 2017, dropped in 2018, essentially because the industry was too young, okay? And the underlying demand that's required to keep these assets at their value just simply didn't exist. So it corrected, and now we've seen this development. And this sort of wave that you can see is the wave that we're all experiencing at the moment. Can I have the next one? Can I have the next one there, Squid? Next slide. Look, this is the slide I did today. Okay. And what I want to do, I'm at the moment interviewing for a CEO for Dacxi Australia, and in talking to people, what I always start by saying, look, when you look at Dacxi, what you need to understand is you really don't see our really big vision, because we don't talk about the next big wave in the crypto space that will actually be significantly larger than this crazy boom that we see today. And so, as I said, this is a new wave. For those of you that know me, will have never have seen this wave before. And let me just explain it to you. So you have the cryptocurrency wave, okay? And a currency is an asset that is, as it says, it is a currency. Its value is based on the demand of the use of it. Does everyone understand that? There is no shares, there's no income streams, there's no property behind it, all right? It's literally is a currency. And cryptocurrency has been able to crowd create a currency, but that may be for all these different use cases that you heard Darren talk about, okay? So whether it's a store of value, or whether it's a payment currency, or whether it's whether it's some sort of, blockchain currency, or any of those sort of stuff, we've had that initial spike, and then coming out of 2020, as you can see, we're now into this growth wave, okay? And that growth wave, they are talking about pretty big numbers. So you can see we're talking around $5 trillion within a couple of years. Now, there's a lot of talk about what will Bitcoin be then and all that sort of stuff. You really have to put it aside, because I have never, ever, 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 ever met a commentator, futurist, or anyone who's ever got it right, okay? That everyone's has this views about why things have changed, but in reality, the only way you can look at it is to take the sort of view that I'm showing you there, which says that where we are is where we are, but the potential of the market, the logical value of the market is around 5 trillion. It's easy to talk about 10 trillion. But if 5 trillion is a reasonable view, it's still an amazing, amazing opportunity for people. But that's where currencies are. But eventually, and I'm saying this very bluntly, eventually, the investment value of cryptocurrencies disappear. Okay, when Bitcoin is $250,000 a coin, you're not going to get that excited about it. Would you agree with me? It's just, it's pretty high. And so the question is, what are people going to do there? And Squid will know that I've always said, literally years and years ago, is that there will be a next wave. And this wave is using what Darren was talking about, was using the blockchain, which I always explain it as just a very smart database, okay? It's just a smart database, but it is it's like the internet, in the fact that sitting on the internet, you have what's called applications. And these are the things that are these applications that can represent a percentage of a part of a building, that you could own part of a high quality building. You could own a share that's overseas and be able to trade it very easily. You can have it represent the shares of a early stage exciting company that could be traded all around the world, which is what we're talking about in Dacxi. But the thing for us is that we look at that tokenization as really the big boom. It will make what you see now, what I'm talking about currency, it will dwarf it. There is a reason why we purposely did not put a top on that $10 trillion market cap, because they're talking about potential value of this space being literally in tens of trillions of dollars. And as such, what it does, it means that for us as a company, if you imagine where Dacxi's mentality comes from, as the pioneer of crypto wealth, we're saying to the average person, start now in the blue chip currencies, because that's what the big boys are buying, as Matteo, clearly explained. So that's the big stuff that the big boys ride this wave, that you see this currency wave. And then, as Squid was saying, we will then introduce these follow-on opportunities, and some may be a tokenized form of lending, some may be a tokenized form of property, and some, obviously for us, the most exciting thing is this new tokenized way of investing in innovative products. And for us as a company, that we appreciate that the market will evolve very dramatically, because a lot of these asset tokens are what's known as securities. It requires a much more regulated market. It needs a far more, a much more credible industry. The industry is a little bit cowboyish at the moment. But what you can notice is that people like us, not only have we always known this, now that major organizations are talking about it, this is where the industry is going. And this is why you personally can look at this space and go, hey, look, this is not a short-term opportunity. This is an area that I'm going to have money in 10 years' time. Do you all understand that? And you'll have more money in this than you imagine, because it's a much smarter, better way to look at how you can have your assets. And so this evolution in the industry, which we don't talk about at the moment because it just confuses people a little bit. We just try to focus on those cryptocurrencies. But this is the real buzz of what you're doing, and you seriously are at the start of this revolution. Like, we've been involved for a few years, but in terms of major new asset classes, we are still babies, and as such, they offer you real opportunities. Okay. As far as how the COVID world is going to impact, okay, because we didn't decide this was about the COVID. Look, I feel that the COVID changes to society will just accelerate what's already happening. Already the world was getting very sick of the current structures that are around at the moment. And that's why Brexit happened. It's why Trump happened. It's why there's this sort of horrible, binary world of, lefts versus rights, reds versus blues, that, you just know is never going to really help, okay? The issue is the COVID world, to me, has just accelerated that evolution. That is fantastic for the crypto world, because as a mindset, we are very much into what Matteo was calling DeFi. It's called decentralized finance, okay? And decentralized finance is at the heart of the crypto space. It's at the heart of what Darren was saying with, we're using the blockchain. You don't need all these centralized middlemen. It's a matter of just spreading the opportunities out to everyone and allowing them to be able to do that. And that's the heart of, really, that's the philosophy of where we're coming from. The last thing I'd actually like to talk about is actually Australia, which is a bit cheeky for a Kiwi to talk about Australia. I did go to university in Australia, I would say that. Australia actually is a little bit behind a lot of the other developed countries in the crypto space. We have some solid exchanges. We have a lot of people owning it. But as far as the sort of, in America, the major banks, Visa, PayPal, Citibank, Goldman Sachs have all come out and said they're in crypto. In Singapore, you've got the largest bank, DBS, in association with the Singapore stock market, saying that, you know, they're launching their digital assets and digital asset areas. You've got, you know, in, you know, Korea, Japan, Germany, you know, its largest bank, Deutsche Bank, just announced that they're in crypto. You know, the major exchanges talk of their crypto and blockchain divisions, and we don't have that here. And if you think that that is going to continue for the next 12 months, either we're on drugs or some people are going to get fired in the ASX or the major banking organizations. Banks don't move fast. And what it has is that there will be new regulations here. Dacxi as an organization is, you know, we're doing all the new regulatory work in Singapore, in the UK, in Europe. So we expect stuff to happen here. You know, we have, you know, applications going in for AFSLs and all this sort of stuff to ensure that we understand that this evolution of the marketplace is going to happen. And for us, we just want to keep ahead of the marketplace to be able to create that trusted organization, heavily regulated, which is what you need to do for retail organizations. All of that's going to happen. And, you know, it's really cool. Okay. And for those of you that are new at looking at crypto, I don't know whether you with Dacxi or whatever, all I can say is that this is actually just the start. If you look at the way these waves work, we literally are at that sort of critical point whereby this market will go up. But, you know, there was a time that we thought $50,000 US dollars for a Bitcoin was just crazy. And now we've already gone past it, and they're talking about $250,000 or $500,000 for Bitcoin as a more reasonable target. So, you know, you need to appreciate that you have that wonderful combination of fantastic potential, yet with levels of security and confidence from the sort of organizations that are involved that we haven't had over the last few years. So, look, I really appreciate your time. Okay, I really do. It's obviously very, very good in our world at the moment. I hope you're enjoying it. For those of you that are new, I hope you really get into it. You know, someone asked me what I think you should do in this market. My answer to that is now is the time to go all in. Sell the car, buy Bitcoin. Okay. Because the potential downside risk and the sort of potential upside from all of this is so good. You know, sell the Toyota and buy a Range Rover in 12 months' time. So apart from that, look, I really appreciate it. Squid, if there are any questions, really happy to talk about it.
Thanks, Ed. It's really good to get three very different perspectives on cryptocurrency and blockchain. But a few takeaways that I've got out of tonight was especially Matteo, who's an extremely experienced trader and OCG trader in cryptocurrency. His advice was, you know, buy and hold. Just buy the blue chips and hold on to them, which was absolutely fantastic advice. And I think that's things that we all need to learn. And talking to people all the time, they hear about trading. And trading is, it's got too many dangers involved with it. You know, Darren's slide that gives the potentiality of realizing that multiple 10 trillions of dollars worth of assets and values going to be tokenized in Darren's company and other companies, you know, thousands of companies like Darren's are going to be tokenizing all these asset classes and individual assets over the next, you know, millennia, because they'll always need that type of service to do stuff as well. So, you know, we've got and someone that started up an exchange with the concept of allowing the concept that Darren's developing to be accessible to the normal person, not just to a very elite few through Ed Ludbrook and the Dacxi exchange. So we've got three great views about use cases, usability, where the industry is going and what's happening now. One of the questions in the chat was, Ed, is do we have any competition in our marketplace right now in doing what Dacxi does?
No. No, look, we have, basically the crypto industry, basically is either focused on institutional money, or they're really designed to support traders, all these sort of speculators. Everything is about being easy and simple. The reality as an organization, the crypto industry is designed like digital banks for millennials. And it's all about being simple and fast and clean. But the challenge that people have with this, to really put the money in that'll impact your wealth. It's all very well for a punt, okay? It's all very well for a punt. If you're just going to put $1,000 down and hope that something's going to happen, and if it works well, then you'll go on a better holiday, then fantastic. But you know, if you look at this like an investable asset class for your wealth, so we're not, you know, ignore those comments. You know, people say, oh, don't put in, you know, only put enough money in that you can afford to lose, which is stupid advice. It's the sort of advice you give to someone when they're going to a casino. It means you know absolutely nothing about the space as an asset class. It's like, and I call it stupid because it is. This is a highly credible, supported asset class that you need to be putting in the money that you don't want to lose. Okay? Do you understand? So, but you have to put in enough that it impacts your wealth. And, you know, and that's reality. And so that mindset that's required, especially for our target market, which is, you know, 40s through to 70s and 80s, the people who actually have the wealth in Australia, you know, they need us. They need a platform that has the support, the education, the understanding, the security, the conservatism, the right approach to regulatory that other organisations don't have at the moment. I'm sure they'll come in, but in reality, we think that when they're just coming in to copy what we're doing, we would have already evolved into this new tokenization with, you know, the most unique, you know, tokenized crowdfunding solution the world's ever seen. So that was a bit boastful, wasn't it? But you know what I mean.
Well,
you know what I mean.
What I do enjoy the most about what we're doing is we don't pool crowdfunding. You know, each individual makes their own individual choice about what they're purchasing. They control the purchase, they control what they buy, how much they buy, and when they sell. Yeah. And I don't think anyone else is even thinking about doing pooled crowdfunding like that. All they do is put it all in a big bucket, and one person's got their hand on the bucket, and they can do whatever they like with the bucket. And I don't think that the world wants that anymore. I think we want some individual control of our assets and what we do with our money. And I think people like you and the Dacxi platform, we've got people like Darren that are allowing us to access a lot of this new technology by creating the technology. And people like Matteo, who are industry leaders in cryptocurrency, that give that extra level of credibility that we probably don't get in the financial institutions that we're dealing with now, because there's no transparency there. But with blockchain and cryptocurrency, we can see exactly what's going on in that industry. And it's pretty hard to get blindsided now if you know how to look at the wallet addresses around the world. There's people that watch that like a hawk, and they can see what's happening. So that extra level of transparency is very important in all our worlds. And ultimately, with what Darren's doing, I want to know what I put in my mouth. And to do that, I need blockchain. Otherwise, we're just flying blind at the stores. And blockchains allows everything to be easier for us. Everyone's occupations are going to have to shuffle around a little bit in some way, shape, or form. And people that are willing to learn, open their minds, and shuffle into new industries are going to be the big benefiters of the shift. And the people that not probably just didn't hear about it in time for them to pivot. So again, I'm going to wrap up for the night. Thank you very much for our guest speakers. Thank you very much, Matteo. I really appreciate your knowledge, expertise, and your industry leadership. Darren, for what you're providing for us as a community of people that are looking at investing in blockchain, and especially for you, Mr. Ed Ludbrook, for your innovation, your thought, and your future vision of exactly where blockchain is moving and cryptocurrencies are moving. It's not about Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. It is a far bigger opportunity than that.
Good place to start, though.
It's a great place to start. We're at the beginning of a second big wave, but That wave will plateau out. It is currency we're talking about. They will plateau out. And that's where the Dacxi platform really will evolve and allowing people to grow their wealth long term. My children, my grandchildren will be able to use the Dacxi platform to fund innovation, to develop wealth, and to gain freedom that I haven't been able to achieve up until I was 48, but I'm 52 now. So I've enjoyed the freedoms of what blockchain can do. And for you that are new to this this space, reach out to the person that's shared this video with you. Make sure you go to the Dacxi Global YouTubes, go to Dacxi.com, learn as much as you can, develop some confidence in cryptocurrency, and get involved at the level of confidence that you have. And the level of confidence is all determined about your ability to learn fast, because you have to learn fast because the space moves very, very fast. So again, thank you very much for everyone joining. I wish you well. We do have another webinar like this, UK based, in about 12 hours time, 11 hours time. So you can join that by going to events.dacxi.com and registering for that event. It's a 6 a.m. start Queensland time, so you can join that. But I really appreciate you coming on tonight, learning about it. And if anyone's got any final questions, put them in the chat. We can answer that. But other than that, thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to catching you on a future webinar.